Hari Om, good morning. Today we are delving into a part of JnanaYoga, a wonderful talk delivered by Swami Vivekananda in London. Its topic is the real nature of man. Swamiji started this whole talk through a question. It's very interesting. In fact, that question comes to all of us at a certain time of life, either in the earlier stages of life, or the midlife, or when you grow up too old. But definitely that question comes. He's starting with a very interesting quote, and I say, "Great is the tenacity with which man clings to the senses." We all do that. Yet, however substantial we may think that the external world is where we are living and we are moving around is true, but still we are asking question, is this real? To the people, we do not have time to ask this question, always busy. Even to them, at the end of the life, they ask question, is this real? And Swamiji is nicely saying, the whole religion starts with this question and ends with this answer. Even in the remote past, where the recorded history cannot help to find out this, in the mysterious light of the mythology, back in the dim light, twilight of civilization, Swami is saying, we find the same question is asked, what becomes of this? What is real? He is quoting Katha Upanishad, saying that one of the most poetical Upanishads, with the questions he is asking. I quote, where a man dies, there is a dispute. One party declares that he has gone forever, the other insists that he is still living. Which is true? Unquote. So various answers have been given to these questions. The whole sphere of metaphysics, philosophy, religion is really filled with various answers to this question. Where we go after the death? At the same time, attempts have been made to suppress also this. What is beyond? What is real? The mind keeps on asking this question. Swami is saying that we may not be in a position to try to answer this question. The whole world may combine to prevent us from broadening out beyond this present. Yet so long as there is death, the question must come again and again. Is the death the end of all these things to which we are clinging, as if they are the most real of all realities, the most substantial of all substances? The world vanishes in a moment and is gone. Standing on the brink of precipice, beyond which is the infinite yawning chasm, every mind, however hardened, is bound to recoil and ask this question, is this real? The hopes of lifetime which you have built over a lifetime, little by little, step by step, it gets vanished in a moment, less than a second time. Are these real? This question must be answered. Time never lessens its power. On the other hand, it adds strength to it. Interesting thing, Swamiji is very nicely saying that we want to be happy. We run after everything which tries to make us happy. We pursue our mad career in the external world of senses. If you ask a person who is successful in his young days, he'll say, oh, life is so beautiful, nice. But when the same person grows old and finds fortune is ever eluding him, he will declare that it is a fate. He finds at last that his desires cannot be fulfilled. Everything is evanescent. Enjoyment, misery, luxury, wealth, power and poverty, even life itself are all evanescent. So the two positions came. First of the question, is this real? Second, Swami is saying, we want to be happy. But happiness from external world. Now the next important part is the two positions of the mankind. Swamiji is trying to tell two positions, one of the nihilist, another of the confirmation seeker. Nihilist saying that all is nothing, we know nothing, that we can never know anything either about the future, the past or even the present. To deny the past and the future, the present must inevitably be denied also. This is one position of the nihilist. I have never seen a man who could really become a nihilist for 1 minute. It's very easy to talk. Other position is of The explanation Swami is trying to tell that the search throughout the history of the mankind, in the very oldest times, is often find glimpses of light coming into man's mind. In fact, in the hymns of the Rig Veda addressed to the god of fire who is burning dead body, the prayer says, O fire, in your arms gently, give him a perfect body, a bright body, carry him where the fathers live, where there is no more sorrow, where there is no more death. Ideas present in present day religion also. Two things, one is of the nihilist aspect, another is the seeker aspect. In the seeker aspect, we find that we get an idea, and it is significant fact that all religions, without one exception, is holding that the man is degeneration of what he was. Whether they clothe this in mythological words or in the clear language of philosophy or a beautiful expression of poetry, that is Swami is saying. This is one fact that comes out of every scripture and of every mythology, that the man that is a degeneration of what he was. Saying that is the kernel truth within the story of Adam's fall in the Jewish scripture. The same concept is repeated again and again in our Hindu sastras. The dream of a period which he called the age of truth, when no man died unless he or she desired to die, when he could keep his body as long as he liked, and the mind was pure and strong. There was no evil, no misery, and the present age is corruption of that state of perfection. Side by side with this, we find the story of deluge everywhere. That story itself is a proof that the present age is held to be a corruption of the former age by every religion. Over the time, it has become corrupt more and more. And interesting, Swami is saying, it is growing up slowly again to reach once more that early state of purity. So we should not worry that it is going down and down. He is giving an example of a story which has been repeated in the Old Testament, in the ancient Babylonians, the Egyptians, the Chinese. The story of Manu, the great ancient sage, who was praying on the bank of the Ganga river. When a little minnow came to him for protection, saying that a big fish will try to eat him. What do you want? Manu asked. The little minnow declared, can you please protect me? Manu carried this little fish to his home and put it in the small tank. Next morning he finds that it has occupied the whole tank. Same way he is changing the place, and the fish is trying to keep the same size of the place where he was being kept. Finally, when Manu puts him in the ocean, he declared, Manu, I am the creator of the universe. I have taken this form to come and warn you that I will deluge the world. You will build an ark, and in it put a pair of every kind of animal, and let your family enter the ark, and there will project out of the water my horn. Fashion the ark to it, and when the deluge subsides, come out and people the earth. So the world was deluged, and Manu saved his own family and two of every kind of animal and seeds of every plant. This is a story. When the deluge subsides, he came and peopled the world, and we are all called man because we are the progeny of Manu. That's what Swami is saying. Swami is saying that human language is an attempt to express this truth within. Whether the language of untangible sounds, attempting by a baby to hash philosophy, or words of philosopher. Swami is nicely telling that basically the difference between them two is a degree, not a kind. Trying to tell what we call very systematic, correct mathematical language of present day so-called scientific age, compared to hazy, mystical, mythological language of the old ancient time, is only on the degree, not of its kind. Right? That they are talking about this one and the same, not different things. Reason all of these have got a great idea behind this. And often, the question, the idea which has been asked, if it has been uttered by a modern day person, they will accept it easily. But if it has been told by the older ancient times, by Buddha, Christ or Moses, then we will laugh at it and we do not accept it. Saying that the one we call it religious superstition, and the other one, present day, we call it scientific superstition. And in and through that superstition came life-giving ideas of spirituality. In and through this modern superstition came lust and greed. That superstition was of worship of God, and this scientific superstition is worship of filthy liquor, fame and power. That is the difference. Let's come back to the mythology. Swami is saying that coming to the present times, modern research seems to clear cut the position that the man is the diminution of what he was. Absolutely correct. Revisionists seem to contradict thou, but according to them, the man is evolution of the mollusc, and therefore what mythology states cannot be true. Swami is very nicely saying there is a mythology in India which can tell that both are true, and that's what he is trying to impact very nice. Saying that something which is going up will fall down and again it will rise. That is the trueness of that. Something cannot be coming out of the nothing. So there has to be some beginning, some existence. So we are in the position of reconciling the scriptures with modern light. That energy which manifests itself slowly through various stages, unless until it becomes the perfect man, cannot come out of this nothing. It has existed somewhere. The mollusc or the protoplasm is the first point to which you can trace it. That protoplasm somehow or the other must have contained that energy. So from energy to other it comes, conservation of energy. It is not denying the scientific proposition, nor it denying the religious proposition. It is keeping both the things intact and saying both are true. He is giving a very nice answer to a very interesting question. He is saying that great discussions going on whether the aggregate of all these materials, what we call is the body, is a cause of the manifestation of force, what we call soul, its thought, etc., or whether it is a thought that manifests this body. The question is interesting. The religion of the world, of course, hold that force called thought manifests the body, and not the reverse. There are schools of modern thought which holds that what we call thought is simply the outcome of the adjustment of the parts of the machine, which we call body. Swami is saying, if we say that the soul is simply outcome of the adjustment of the body, or outcome of the machine, which we call body, or outcome of the chemical and physical combination of the matter making up this body and brain, leaves the question unanswered. What makes this body is the question. What force combines these molecules into the body form? What force is there which takes up material form, the mass of matter around the forms, and form this body one way, another body another way, and so on? What makes this infinite distinction? Swami is saying, to say that the force called soul is the outcome of the combination of the molecules of the body is putting the cart before the horse. How did the combinations come? Where was the force to make him? So, if you say that some other force was the cause of these combinations, and soul was the outcome of that matter, and that soul, which combined a certain mass of matter, was itself the result of the combination, it is not an answer. That theory ought to be taken, which explains most of the facts, if not all, and that without contradicting either existing theories. It is more logical to say now that the force which takes up the matter and forms the body is the same which manifests through the body. To say, therefore, that the thought forces manifested by the body are the outcome of the arrangement of molecules and have no independent existence has no meaning. Neither can force evolve out of matter. Rather, it is possible to demonstrate that what we call matter does not exist at all. It is only a certain state of force. A very interesting standpoint. Even the present science also trying to prove the same concept. Swami is saying that solidity, hardness, or any other state of matter can be proved to be the result of motion. Saying the increase of vortex motion imparted to fluid gives the force of solids. By giving an example of tornado, when the vortex of motion is impact and can cut through solid body by the impact of the force of the solid. So what is this force which manifests itself through the body? It is obvious to all of us, whatever that force may be, it is taking particles up, as it were, and manipulating forms out of them, the human body. Coming here to manipulate bodies for you and me. At least Swami is saying, I never saw anybody eat food for me. I had to assimilate it, manufacture blood and bones and everything out of that food. So what is this mysterious force? Ideas about this future and about the past seem to be terrifying to many. To many they seem to be mere speculation. So what is the present theme? Now working through us. We know how in old times, in all the ancient scriptures, this power, this manifestation of power was thought to be a bright substance having the form of this body which remained after this body fell. Later on, however, we find a higher idea coming that this light body or bright body did not represent the body force. Whereas form must be the result of combination of particles and requires something else behind it to move it. If this body requires something which is not the body to manipulate, the bright body by the same necessity will also require something other than itself to manipulate. Something is called the soul or the Atman in Sanskrit. It is Atman which through the bright body as it were worked on the gross body outside. Atman is not the mind even, it works the mind and through the mind the body. You have an Atman, I have an Atman. So questions were then asked about this Atman, about its nature. What is this Atman? This soul of man, which is neither the body nor the mind. Great discussions followed, speculations were made, various shades of philosophic ideas came into existence, and Swami is saying that I will try to place before you some of the conclusions that have been reached about this Atman. The different philosophies at least agrees to a point that the Atman, or whatever it be, has neither form nor shape. And that which has neither form nor shape must be omnipresent. It's there everywhere. Time begins with this mind, space also is in the mind. Causation cannot stand without time. Without the idea of succession, there cannot be any idea of causation. So time, space and causation therefore are in the mind. And as this Atman is beyond the mind and formless, it must be beyond time, beyond space and beyond causation. Now if it is beyond time, space and causation, this must be infinite. It must be omnipresent. It comes the highest speculation in our philosophy. The clear-cut idea that infinite can be two. If the soul be infinite, there can be only one soul, and all ideas of various souls, you having one, I having one, another person having one, are not real. So, the real man, therefore, is one and infinite, the omnipresent spirit. And the apparent man is only limitation of that real man. We are all apparent men, we are only limitation of the real man. In that sense of mythologies are true that the apparent man, however great we may be, is only a dim reflection of the real man which is beyond. The real man, the spirit, being beyond cause and effect, is not bound by time and space, must therefore be free. He was never bound and could not be bound. The apparent man, that was the reflection of this man, is limited by space, time, causation, and is therefore bound. And what we see every day in our life. So, in the language of some of our philosophers, he appears to be bound, but really is not. This is the reality of our souls, this omnipresent, this spiritual nature, this infinity. Every soul is infinite, therefore there is no question of birth and death. Some children were being examined, Swami is saying. The examiner put them rather hard questions, and among them was this one, the question, I quote, why does not earth fall? He wanted to evoke answers about gravitation. So most of the children could not answer at all. A few answered that it was gravitation or something. One little bright girl answered it by putting another question. Where should it fall? The question is nonsense. Where should the earth fall? There is no falling or raising for the earth. In infinite space, there is no up or down. There is only one in the relative. Where is the going or coming from the infinite? When should it come and where it should go? Time we stop talking about the past or the future, leave up the idea of this body, we start thinking about the higher idea. This body is not the real man, neither the mind, nor the mind waxes, the veins. It is the spirit beyond which alone can live forever. The body and mind are continually changing, are in fact only names of series of changeful phenomena. The way a river is flowing in constant state of flux, yet presenting the appearance of unbroken streams. But if you really watch the river, it is not constant. It is breaking every moment. And in this body where the so-called state is changing, every particle is changing. So no one has come the same body for many minutes together, and yet we think of it as the same body. Same thing with the mind. One moment is happy, other moment unhappy. One moment is strong, another moment very weak. Is ever changing whirlpool. So changes cannot be in the infinite. Changes can be in the finite world, which is limited, bounded. So to say that the infinite changes in every way is absurd. It cannot be. One can move, I can move, you can move as limited bodies. Every particle in this world, in this universe, is in a constant state of flux. But taking the universe as a unit, single unit, as a whole, it cannot move, it cannot change. Motion is always a relative thing. I move in relation to something else, you move in relation to something else. One particle is moving into another particle relative to that. But take the whole universe as one, and in relation to what it can move. There is nothing besides it. So this infinite being is unchangeable, immovable, absolute, and that is the real man. Reality, therefore, consists in the universal and not in the limited. These are old illusions, however comfortable they may, to think that we are little limited beings, constantly changing. People, as Swami is saying, are frightened when they are told that they are universal being, everywhere present. Through everything you work, through every food you move, through every lip you talk, through every heart you feel, you are actually universal being. You are present everywhere. Told that they are changing, they get scared. So they have a question: how do I keep my individuality? The question immediately comes: what is individuality? Swami is saying, I should like to say it. A baby has no moustache. When he grows to be a man, perhaps he has a moustache and beard. It is individual to be lost if it are in the body. If I lose one eye, or if I lose one of my hands, my individuality would be lost if it are in the body. Then a drunkard should not give up drinking because he would not lose his individuality. A thief should not be a good man because he would lose his individuality. No man ought to change his habits for fear of this. There is no individuality except in the infinite. This is the only condition which does not change. Everything else is in constant state of flux. Neither can individuality be in a memory. The Swami is saying, suppose on account of a blow on the head of I forget all about my past, then I have lost all my individuality. I am gone. I do not remember 2 or 3 years of my childhood. And if memory and existence are one, then whatever I forget is gone. That part of my life which I do not remember, I did not live. This is a very narrow idea of individuality. We are not individuals yet. Actually, we are struggling towards individuality, and that is the infinite. That is the actual real nature of man. He alone lives whose life is in the whole universe, and the more we concentrate our lives on the limited things, the faster we go towards death, the physical death. He is saying those moments alone we live when our lives are in the universal. In others, then living this little life is death, simply death, and that is why the fear of death comes. Unquote. The fear of death can only be conquered when man realizes that no long as there is one life in this universe he is living. When he is able to say, quote, I am in everything, in everybody, I am in all lives, I am the universe. Then alone comes the state of fearlessness. To talk of immortality in constantly changing things of the world is absurd. Says an old Sanskrit philosopher, it is only the spirit that is individual because it is infinite. No infinity can be divided. Infinity cannot be broken into pieces. It is the same one in the undivided unit forever, and that is the individual man, the real man. It is really a mainly struggle to express, to manifest this individuality which is beyond, and evolution is not in the spirit. These changes which are going on, the wicked becoming good, the animal becoming man, all these take them in whatever way you will like, and not in the spirit. The revelation of nature and manifestation of spirit. Suppose there is a screen hiding you from me. It's between you and me, in which there is a small hole, in which I can see some of the four faces before me. Just a few faces, not all. Now suppose the hole begins to grow larger and larger, and if it's so, more and more sin before me it reveals. So I stand face to face with you all. You did not change at all in this case. It was the whole that was evolving, and you are gradually manifesting yourself. That is the same thing with the spirit. No perfection is going to be attained. You are already free and perfect. Somebody is saying, what are these ideas of religion, God, searching for the hereafter? Why does man look for a God? Why does a man in every nation, in every state of society, want a perfect ideal somewhere, either in a man, in God, or elsewhere? Because that idea is in you. It is your own heart beating, and you do not know. You are mistaking it for something external. God within you, which is propelling you to seek for Him, to realize Him. After long searches here and there, in temples and churches, in earths and heavens, at last one come back and completing the circle from where one started to one's own soul, and find that He for whom one has been seeking all over the world, for whom one has been weeping and praying in churches and temples, hills and heavens, on whom one is looking at the mystery of all mysteries, shrouded in the clouds, He is nearest to the near, is your own self, the reality of your life, body and soul. That is your own nature. Assert it, manifest it. It's not to become pure, because you are already pure itself, yourself. You are not to be perfect, because you are already perfect. Nature is like that screen which is hiding that reality beyond. Every good thought that one think, one act upon, is simply tearing that veil, as it were, and the hole in the screen is becoming larger and larger, and the purity, the infinity, the God behind manifests itself more and more. This is the whole history of man. Finer and finer becomes the veil, more and more of the light behind shines forth, because it is nature of the sign. It cannot be known. In vain we try to know it. Were it knowledgeable, knowable, it would not be what it is. For it is the eternal subject. Knowledge is the limitation, is objectifying. He is the eternal subject of everything, the eternal witness in this universe, your own self. Knowledge is, somebody is saying, as it were, a lower state, a divination. You are the eternal subject already. How can you know it? It is the real nature of every man, and is struggling to express it in various ways. Otherwise, why are there so many ethical codes? Where is the explanation of all ethics? One idea stands out as the center of all ethical system, expressed in various forms, namely doing good to others. The guiding motive of mankind should be charity towards men, charity towards all animals. But these are all various expressions of that eternal truth. Quote, I am the universe, this universe is one, unquote. Or else, where is the reason? Why should I do good to my fellow men? Why should I do good to others? What is compelling me? The sympathy, the feeling of sameness everywhere. The hardest fears feel sympathy for other beings sometimes. Even the man who gets frightened if he is told that his assumed individuality is really delusion, that it is ignoble to try to cling to this apparent individuality, that man tell you that same extreme self-abnegation is the center of all morality. And what is the perfect self-abnegation? It means the abnegation of this apparent self, the abnegation of all selfishness. This idea of me and mine, ahankara and mamata, is the result of past superstition, and the more this present self passes away, the more the real self becomes manifest. This is the true self-abnegation, the center, the basis, the gist of all moral teaching, and whether man knows it or not, the whole world is all slowly moving towards it, practicing it more or less in every steps every day. Only the vast majority of mankind are doing it unconsciously. Few, very extremely few, knowingly doing it. So let them do it consciously. Let them make the sacrifice, knowing that this me and mine is not the real self, but only limitation. but one glimpse of that infinite reality which is behind, but one spark of that infinite fire, that is all, represents the man. The infinite is his nature, his true nature. So, what is the utility, the effect, the result of this knowledge? In present day's world, we have to measure everything by this utility. How many pounds, shillings, dollar, pence it represents. What right has a man to ask this truth? Should be judged by the standard of utility or money? Suppose there is no utility, will it be less true? Will it be useless? Utility is not the test of truth. Nevertheless, there is the highest utility in this. Happiness is what everyone is seeking for, but the majority seek it in the things which are not real, they are unreal. No happiness was ever found in the senses. There never was a person who found happiness in the senses or enjoyment in the senses. Happiness is only found in the spirit. Therefore, the highest utility for mankind is to find this happiness in the spirit. The next point is that ignorance is the great mother of all the misery. And the fundamental ignorance is to think that the infinite weeps and cries that he is finite. This is the basis of all ignorance, that we, the immortal, the ever pure, the perfect spirit, think that we are little minds, that we are little bodies, is the mother of all selfishness. The moment one thinks that I am a little body, I want to preserve it, to protect it, to keep it nice at the expense of other bodies, then you and I become separate. This idea of separations comes. It opens the door of all mischief and leads to all misery. This is the utility that if a very small fractional part of human beings living on today can put aside the idea of selfishness, narrowness, littleness, this whole earth, this whole society will become paradise today itself. But if the machines and improvements of material knowledge only, it will never be. These only increase misery. As oil poured on fire increase the flame all the more. Without the knowledge of the spirit, all material knowledge is only adding fuel to fire, only giving into the hands of selfish man one more instrument to take what belongs to others, to live upon the little of others instead of giving up life for them. Swami is throwing the final question, very interesting. Is it practical? Can it be practiced in modern society? Swami is saying, truth does, I quote, truth does not pay homage to any society, ancient or modern. Society has to pay homage to truth or die. Society cannot be molded upon the truth. Truth has not to adjust itself to society. If such a noble truth is as unselfishness cannot be practiced in society, it is better for a man to give up the society and go to forest. That is the person is called daring man. There are two types of courage. One is the courage of facing the cannon, the other is the courage of spiritual conviction. He is given a very nice, interesting story about an emperor who is invaded India at that point of time, and he was asked by his teacher that when you go to India, go and seek for a sage and see him. After long search, he found a sage who was sitting on a stone, and asked him, "Will you please come with me to my country? I will give everything possible to you, because I am the emperor of the world." And the sage answered, "No, I cannot go leaving this place." The emperor said, "Then I will kill you." Sage said that you can kill me, but you cannot kill my spirit. Same way he is told about the story of 1857 mutiny, when Swami, a very great soul whom a Mohammedan mutiny stabbed severely, the Hindu mutineers caught and brought the man to the Swami, offering to kill him. But the Swami looked up and calmly and said, "My brother, thou art he, and expired." This is another instance. Spiritual conviction is the courage. He severely criticized the Western concept of the courage of the lion or facing the cannon, because that is not the highest truth. The society is the greatest, where the highest truth becomes practical. That is Swami's opinion. Society is not fit for the highest truths. Make it so, and the sooner the better. Swami is saying, stand up, man, women, in that spirit, dare to believe in the truth, dare to practice the truth. The world requires a few hundred of bold men and women practice that boldness which dares know the truth, which dares know the truth in life, which dares not quake before the death. Nay, welcomes death, makes a man know that he is the spirit, that in the whole universe nothing can kill him. Then you will know your real soul. This Atman is very first to be heard, then thought about, and then meditated up. Swami is saying very interestingly that peoples of the modern age talk very much about the work and decries the thought. Doing is very good, but that comes from thinking. Little manifestations of energy through the muscles are called work. But where there is no thought, there will not be no work. Fill the brain therefore with high thoughts, high ideals, and place them day and night before us. So one that will become great work. Talk not about the impurity, but say that we are pure. We have actually hypnotized ourselves into the thought that we are little, we are born, and we are going to die. And that is a constant state of fear we have indulged ourselves. Swamiji is finishing his talk on the real nature of man by the story of a lioness, which all of us will know. So, we will not tell that story, but we'll just finish it up by saying, I quote Swamiji, now few lines from his talk. Let positive, strong, helpful thought enter into their brains from very childhood. Let yourselves open to these thoughts and not to weakening and paralyzing ones. Say to your own minds, I am he, I am he. Let it ring day and night in your minds like a song, and at the point of death declare, I am he. That is the truth. The infinite strength of the world is yours. Drive out the superstition that has occurred, uncovering your minds every moment. Let us be brave, know the truth and practice the truth. The goal may be distant, but awake, arise, and stop not till the goal is reached. That's Swamiji's talk on the real nature of man. It's telling everything which is truthful and is ultimate to tell about what is our true nature. Hari Om. That's it.